Hi everyone, it's Lisa, and today I'm going to show you how I draw Anna from Frozen. So this is not a tutorial, this is more of a demonstration. And I'm going to show you the process that I use when I'm trying to draw a character that I've not drawn before. And so I showed you the picture that I was working from, and now I'm just establishing the shape of the face. Her face is round-ish, but it's a little bit pointed at the bottom like a heart, and it's a little bit longer than a circle. So I've just sketched gently over and over a circular oval that I'm going to use here to frame up these other lines. And as you can see, I'm working them until I find a happy outline of her face. And I might still come back to it, but I'll work on it at first until I'm pleased with the general shape of her face. And this is what you would have to do also if you were going to draw something for the first time. So now I'm drawing a line, again, just a sketch line across to show where her eyes will go. The dip on the right of her cheek is the indentation where her eye would meet her cheek, her eye bones. Yeah, that meets her cheekbone. And so I know that both of her eyes are roughly parallel across the center. So now I'm looking at the shape of her eye and drawing the left eye. Now the right eye comes just about to the edge of her cheekbone. So I'm drawing the curve at the top and the curve below. But this one comes up a bit because it's going over her cheek. So there's a bit of a curve up on that side, and I think I've drawn it too big, so I'm going to bring it in a little. I think that's better. And again, I'm using pencil because I want to be able to check my work as I go and change things. Now, in the actual drawing, the eye does not have a line that goes all the way around. So I'm just erasing a bit here so I can see how that will look when I don't have a solid line. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the eyeballs right away, because this is going to help me feel like I've got it right. There's a little sparkle in her eye on the blue section, and some lines of black also in the blue section. Her eyes really fill up the space. The colored part of her eye fills up the space a lot. There's not a lot of color. No, there's not a lot of white on her eyeball showing. And the black in the middle fills up a lot of her eye as well. And again, there's a little reflection on this side. And that will be colored in, shaded in darkly. I'm not sure if I'll color this when I'm done or if I'll just sketch it. Because as I said, this is not a tutorial. I'm just showing you how I draw Anna. You could try and draw her the same way that I am, but I sort of recommend looking at a picture of her and doing your best to draw it your way. So now I'm looking at this and I realize that there's just a little bit of gap here where her face shows beyond her eye. So I'm just going to allow for that bit of room. Again, I'm noticing this from my reference picture. Alright, so then her eyelashes are really very dark and full. So I'm just pulling little lines up from her eye, and they even extend a little bit beyond here. ones below her eye are just tiny. Now I'm going to find the place for her eyebrow. It's up here. There's a good bit of space between her eye and her eyebrow. I'm just doing some little sketch lines just to give that indication. And I'm going to indicate here where her head comes up a bit higher before her hairline starts. So there's one eyebrow, and you can see that it trails off fairly quickly. It's nice and full above the middle, and then as it reaches the edge of her face, it's just a thin line pointing down. So we'll find the other eyebrow. We're going to have a look at the eye as we do this. I guess I'll do the eyelashes first. Again, filling in darkly. Looking at my reference picture, and I'm seeing how long they are. I'm pulling little lines. You can't really see what I'm doing here because my hand's in the way. But I'm doing the same thing I did on the other side. And then just some tiny lines below. Now up above, I'm going to find the spot to start her eyebrow. And she's got nice bushy eyebrows, but at this end they're tiny, tiny, tiny little lines arching up and then filling in thicker and thicker. And they mostly go in this direction because that's the direction they're growing in. I'll just pluck some eyebrows down here, clear up underneath. Alright. So now I'm thinking about the hair that's coming down in front of her ear on the left, and I'm thinking about her bangs. So I think we'll draw just a very faint reference line here. Bangs come across, roughly in this shape, and they also come down on the other side, right here. Now that doesn't look like hair, but it will. There's a part here, and the bangs all flow away from the part towards that line on her forehead that I drew going across. And then there's a darker section of her part where the hair is making a shadow, and it's pulling down beside her face. We don't see much hair at all on this side because of the angle that she's facing. And this side it curves all the way down toward her braid. So I'm pulling it from the part around her face. And here I'm just showing the edges, the jagged edges of her bangs. And then there's a thicker section here where the bangs end before the rest of her head of hair is flowing. So I'm just erasing some sketch lines that ended up on her face. And I'm darkening up this section here because there are shadows in her hair. Alright, now her nose is very low, and when you draw a nose, the secret is to hardly draw anything. 2 little nostrils and 2 little edges. I will draw more, but for now I'm just making sure I like the spot. And she's got a very gentle curve to her mouth, and then a little bit of shadow here and here under her cheeks. I didn't make this round enough. I'm always checking back over my work and noticing things that I can improve. I don't get it right the first time. When I'm drawing a new character or a new figure, I've only drawn her once before, and it was just before I drew this one, just to see if I could. Well, I knew I could, but would I be happy with it? So I was pretty happy. So I thought I would do a more official sketch and show it to you. Alright, So her ear is going to be down here. I'm just going to widen up her cheek because now I'm looking at this side of her face more and I'm noticing that it's probably a little bit wider. I'll just work on her mouth. This is just a tiny little top lip. And then there's the line of her where her lips meet. And a very, very tiny bottom lip. Slightly wider. The bottom lip is slightly wider than the top. Make it even. Alright, back up we go. Let's think about that ear again. I see the ear should be close to the same height as the eye and come down to the side. I'm liking that. And that's the skin coming from her face. So I'm just going to erase now. There's no line. It's all one big connected bit. And now think about her neck. Looking at my reference picture, it's a very thin neck, a little bit wider than her mouth. And now back to thinking about this braid that's coming down around. So I'm just pulling hair lines down around, and then I'm looking to see how the braid goes. So here's some lines from the braid. Many, many that are going to come from under here. And this is the shape. Hair curving out. And then the other direction. And then the way a braid works is we have another lump of hairs in this way, and then these ones from the top are curving around themselves. So my lines are overlapping right now, but I can erase and fix that after. That's the way a braid works. It's the same hair coming all the way down. You just don't see the overlaps unless you have X-ray vision. Alright, so now we're just going to put a little shadows in here because it gives her cheeks a bit of dimension. And a little bit of shadow on her nose. Just a little. This is her smile. And that side of her face is farther away, so it's got some shading. And now some more hair, a little bit of braid starting there and coming around this side. Her graceful neck. And the braid continues. And then there's a collar coming down and across. So this is the narrated version of this video, and it's full length. It took me more than 15 minutes to draw this, about 17. And if you watch the whole thing, it's going to take you 17 minutes to watch. I'm also going to do a time-lapse version, where you can just see it going by quickly. Now, what makes this Anna is that she has freckles. So I'm just making some gentle little freckle lines with my pencil. And smudging them around a little bit so they don't look too much like dots. And then adding a little more shadow under her eyebrow, along her long ski slope nose. Oop, pencil getting away from me. And then just a little more shadow here, the corners of her cheeks. And of course under her face there'll be some shadows on her neck. I think she turned out pretty good. All that's left to do is just some detail work. Tiny little details. in the hair, erasing extra lines that are still showing through. She might have a white section in her braid along here, so I can show that by darkening up, erasing and then darkening up an edge to emphasize the fact that there is no hair strokes there. And then I'll draw some additional lines for the texture of her hair, and that will make it even more obvious that some of it's left white. And I'll add some darker shading in the areas underneath. And just right here I can see too many different directions of hair, so I'll erase, clean that up a little. Since we don't have X-ray vision. At least I don't. Alright. So if you stuck with me this long, I'm impressed. This is a long video. But this is how I draw Anna. This is how I drew her today. As you can see, it's a bit of trial and error and a lot of analysis. Most of the videos that I do are tutorials. They'll actually teach you how to draw something. So if you're interested in learning to draw, you can check out some of my other tutorials. I do one that teaches you how to draw Olaf, who's much easier to draw than Anna, and one that teaches you to draw Sven, although he is harder than Olaf. But it's really fun to draw characters from your favorite movie. I'd love it if you would click like if you liked watching me draw this, and if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I upload videos just about every day. I love to draw and I love to share it with you, and hope that maybe it will help some of you learn to be better artists. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest. Thanks for watching.